When Ezekiel prophesied, something happened. The bones came together. There is sinew, there is flesh, and there is skin. They are all in one place, but nothing is happening. Bones moving, bones seeking, bones joining. Still nothing happening. But it's better than the bones separated. Now something is happening. The bones join and they have proper ligaments, something to hold them properly. Not like an ECOWAS protocol that doesn't work. You know, I don't know about you. We've been here in West Africa. We will have one currency, the ECU. We will have it every year. It is coming next year. It is coming next year. It is coming next year. ECOWAS summit, ECOWAS protocol, ECOWAS parliament. Nothing happens. At least the bones have come together. There is some sinews. There's some muscle. There's some flesh. But it's still dead. It's very interesting how this happens. God commands. Ezekiel prophesies. And then the Bible says there is a noise. God's command is silent. Nobody heard it. Ezekiel's prophecy is a single voice. But the moment Ezekiel declared the word, the Bible says there was noise. The Hebrew word is kol. And it is not noise, meaningless noise. In many instances, it is translated as sound, as voice, as language. In other words, God spoke silently. Ezekiel spoke it, and then a whole company of voices began to cry out the word of the Lord from the prophecy of Ezekiel, from the command of the Lord. So in the valley, there is a noise. And then there is a rattling, a shaking. Another word for shaking is earthquake. And in this process, God commands, Ezekiel prophesies, and the noise is spread abroad. It's one thing God commanding. If nobody prophesies, nothing happens. If God commands and Ezekiel prophesies and nobody responds, nothing happens. But God commands, Ezekiel prophesies, and there are many others who begin to repeat the same word. Begin to repeat the same word. There is a noise abroad. And it is that created movement for the bones. You know, sometimes you can be broke. You are a dry bone. But inside of you, you want life. You want to prosper. And you are in a community of other bones. Nobody wants to prosper like you. Then you hear of another dry bone who says, I want to make it. And you say, wherever that bone is, I'm going to join with him. I'm going to be partaker of him. Or you are defeated. Everything is down. Then somebody comes and says, I believe God will make a way. You say, I connect with you because my spirit now has a kindred spirit. Somebody who has heard what I've heard, and somebody who can do what I want to do, and I want to join with that person. In the joining of the bones didn't connect to the next bone lying by them. They connected to the bone that was suitable to them. So if you are a hand bone and you are lying by a skull, you don't go and connect a hand to a skull. If you are a femur and you are lying by a rib cage, you don't go and say, there's a nice rib cage near me, let me go and connect. What you will create will be a monster. But every bone had to go to where its nearest connection was. What am I saying? Sometimes the connection you need to make may be far from you. The worst thing a person can say, for example, is, I'll go to the church that is closest to me. You don't go to church for convenience. You go to church to connect. To connect. To connect. And if it means traveling 100 miles, you have to go the 100 miles because you must find your bone. Listen to me. Many of us are living lives of convenience. We do what is easy for us, what is near to us, what we can do without sweat. But if you want to really break through in life, you're going to do the hard thing. You're going to move somewhere else. You're going to connect to something that is far. And if the bone you must connect to is on the other side of the valley, you have to go to the other side of the valley. And all of a sudden in the valley, bones were traveling. They said, move away from my place. I have to go. I'm a patella, knee bone. I have to go and connect to a proper thigh bone. Why are they connecting? Because they used to be together and they were destroyed. And in the process of time, the wind has swept them. Erosion has swept them. Rainwater has moved them. And floods have moved them. And all of a sudden, although they used to be together, they are now far from each other. Each one has to go for the bone that is designated for it. Your best friend may not be the one you went to school with. Let me say this. The best neighbor for Ghana may not be Togo. I'm not against Togo. I love Togo. But I'm just saying, the next neighbor may not be Togo. It may be Zimbabwe. That is why I have problem with regional groupings in the first place. Because you have to connect to a bone that is suitable to you to build a viable body. It's like marriage. You don't marry somebody because you went to class 1 with them. You sat at the same desk. My side of the desk is here. My side of the desk is here. And we were saying the same. So I believe that God put us together. Who told you that? Sometimes you have to travel. You have to find a bone somewhere else. An unfamiliar bone. Somebody you've never known, but that is your connection. All I'm saying is, when God is bringing the bones together, proximity is not the essential factor. Strategic connection is the essential factor. God is about to connect you to somebody. The person may not be close to you now. The person may not be close to you now, but they are somewhere looking for you. And bone is going to meet with bone. God knows how to bring the right people your way.